How's it going, guys? Welcome to another one of my videos. In case you didn't know, my name is James. So, there are so many video games out there. Video games are expensive and time is limited. There's a lot of games out there that I haven't played. What do I mean when I say bucket list? Well, I mean games that have already released. It would have to be a game that's on one of the consoles I own. So, I own a Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. It would also have to be a game that fits my interests. It could be a game that I already started but haven't got back to. Now, obviously, if I was going to talk about every game I wanted to play on the PS4 and Switch, this video would probably be like 5 hours long. So I'm just going to name like the top games that I can think of off my head. I can make videos like this in the future to track my progress and see how many of the games I've completed since the last video. So I first want to talk about games on the Nintendo Switch. And the first game I'm going to talk about is a long ongoing series. It's a series I've never played before. It's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I know this game is regarded by many as one of the best games of this console generation. And I know a lot of people talk about this being one of the best Zelda games ever. I've started this game, but I have yet to get back to it. What struck me about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild when I was playing it was it seems like very relaxing, has like a great atmosphere, great music. So the next game I want to talk about is a new entry for a game that has probably the most iconic video game character in history. And I have never played one of his platformers before. It's Super Mario Odyssey. So my sister and me started playing this game a while back, and for some reason we just never got back to it. But at this point, I think when I do get back to it, I'll probably just complete it on my own. What struck me about Super Mario Odyssey was it seemed like there was a lot of imagination put into it. It was very creative. It was like nothing I've ever played before, but it really brought me back to the early days of gaming where there was far more platformers. Okay, so now I'm gonna transition over to games I want to play on the PlayStation 4. This first entry is a trilogy. It's made by, or was originally developed by my favorite developer of all time, and that's Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy. I love Naughty Dog because I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us and the Uncharted series. Those games are they're some of my favorite games of all time. But I know Naughty Dog really made a name for themselves back in the PS1 era when they created Crash Bandicoot. And I've heard a lot of people say Crash Bandicoot Trilogy has some of the best games on the PlayStation 1. And, you know, I'm a fan of platformers. I don't play enough platformers nowadays. So hopefully sometime soon I can play another Naughty Dog masterpiece. Okay, so the next set of games is from the last generation of consoles, and they have been remastered for this generation, and I'm talking about the BioShock collection. I know BioShock is a narrative-driven game. I know it's set, or the first two at least, are set in an underwater city called Rapture, I believe, and yeah, I've heard nothing but praise for BioShock. It's been regarded by many as some of the best games of last generation. So when you put all that together, how can I not check out this game series? Okay, so the next entry on my list is a set of two games from last generation, and they're both massive open world games. And of course, what I'm talking about is Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. The first Bethesda game I ever played was Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. I absolutely love Skyrim. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And I also played Fallout 4 when it came out in 2015 on the PS4. I thought it was a good game. I didn't think it was great. But what I've heard about Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas is that they're far better games than Fallout 4. Okay, so this next entry on the list is a trilogy. It's a trilogy before the reboot this year. And of course, I'm talking about the original God of War trilogy. I wouldn't be interested in this trilogy, obviously, if I didn't love the reboot from this past year. I want to try out the original trilogy because I want to learn more of Kratos' backstory. And, you know, the original God of War trilogy were games that for the longest time I wanted to get into. but just never got into for some reason. So I think this would be the perfect time. All right, guys, that's all I have for my top games on my bucket list for 2018. I'm a new channel, so if you enjoyed this video, I would certainly appreciate if you could subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified for future videos. Have a great day, guys.